everyone, I'm Evie and I'm currently for Dublin University Council. This is our second council update for October. We do this to increase transparency and to give you all opportunity to voice your opinions and to keep you all informed. So I will go through the things that were discussed in the October Council. And there were two memos that we have handed in last year as DACH that were discussed, and also the confidential advisor, which was really interesting, and also a memo about underrepresented voices at the UG, which was about diversity and inclusion. So, for example, things like gender equality, but also anti-racism work at the UG. So I will start with the strategic plan. We discussed about this and we talked about how it is going. Basically, there will be different schools that will be interdisciplinary. But one major point of critique was that it is not quite clear how the humanities and social sciences are involved in this. These documents are not public at the moment, as far as I know. So I will share more of this with you later. The first hour in the council, we talked about the hybride onderwijs, which is a hybrid education. So, for example, how we do online education, not just now, but also going forward. And there were a lot of points made about people's experience, about student experiences, people feeling isolated, for example, or people not having a good connection, internet connection, or not having an adequate study space. But also staff who experience a lot of work pressure and who have to do a lot of overtime because of online education. Ideally, we will make a good plan about how that's going to go in the next few months, especially now cases are rising. Then next up, we talked about the confidential advisor, so the vertrouwenspersoon. So many people may not know that if you experience a problem, such as sexual harassment, but also problems with your employer, basically anything, if you have a problem within the UG with anyone, or for example stalking, there is a person that you can go to, a confidential advisor. And first of all, it's really good that we have such a person. But the problem is that she's alone. So it's only one person who has to handle everything at this huge institution. And the cases like of reports, they are rising every year, which is a good thing because it means that there's more visibility, people feel more comfortable reporting, but it's still only 171 for the whole of the university. So we can imagine, of course, that there are more things happening than that. And also the year only has like 200 working days. So we already see that this person has a lot on her plate. There were a couple of very interesting facts in there and nice data, like explaining who reports what, and also just broken up into like gender, but also what kind of position people have. I can really recommend you to check out the document. We will again link them below. And for example, we do see that we have, for example, only 27% internationals at the UG, but we have 42% of the reports that are done by internationals. So apparently there's a huge problem that internationals experience more problems, or they report them more. Might be the former, but I also asked the vertrouwenspersoon why there is this discrepancy, and she said that it is partly because of obviously racism. Again, we also see that women report more often and experience more problems, But there has been also a rise in reports by men, which is also, a positive sign, because again, these problems, they happen anyways. And if there's more reports, it just means it comes to light. So yeah, in light of all these problems that are going on, I asked the board of the university if there will be more budget for the Vertrauensperson. And also I asked the board to change 2 regulations. So there's 2 regulations that have a problem. One is the Regeling Vertrauensperson, which says that you cannot report anonymously. And that's really problematic, because obviously if you're in an unequal power dynamic, for example, if the person who's harassed you is your boss, you might choose not to report if you have to put your name on it, because you might fear repercussions or something. So yeah, I therefore proposed to the board to change that and to have anonymous reports. And then there's the complaints regulation concerning harassment, sexual harassment, aggression, violence, and discrimination at the University of Groningen from 2009. And there it also says that complaints have to be lodged within 18 months of the behavior taking place. So there's obviously many, many reasons why victims of sexual harassment or harassment in general might not choose to report straight away. So for example, they have a psychological problem, or they're in a power structure with that person who's harassed them, or maybe years later they see their harasser coming into a position of power and then they choose to speak out. Also, we live in a society which has a lot of victim blaming. So yeah, these things are maybe discouraged a bit. So I also advocated for this article to be scrapped. And also I checked a lot of other such regulations, and it's not like many universities don't have this. Like the University of Nijmegen had 6 years, and many don't have any such period. So I don't really understand why that has to be the case. So yeah, there's a lot more on the Vertrauensperson. I will stop talking about it now. You can check out the document. It's really interesting. Then we go to our memo, Lessen the Work. So the board has responded to this and basically said that they will make a working group, but also basically said that our proposal would have been too expensive. And yeah, I stressed that, well, even if the risks are really high, if we implement this in the whole of the university, there's nothing that speaks against doing a small pilot. Yeah, basically. And they also, basically the memo was proposing to shorten the work week while maintaining the same level of salary. And also to begin the day at a later time. So only begin the working day at 10 a.m. And one thing that was also said was that it might be difficult if you just shorten the working hours while keeping the tasks the same, because that would just lead to, again, overtime. But then our criticism is, well, why don't you also reduce the tasks that people have to do, especially if they already have to work structural overtime. There will be a working group on this, so I will keep you all updated. Yes. Then next up, we have the Underrepresented Voices at the RUG memo, which is a really, 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 really cool document. If you want to read it, I can suggest for you to read it. Basically, it's a really detailed policy on what the UG should do to ensure, gender, to work towards gender equality, but also, anti-racism. And the memo also cites how multiple universities in the Netherlands did that. So in response to this memo, the board said that there will be a working group, which is so-called D&I starting 10. So basically it will be kind of like an ad hoc group that includes different people from the university council, but also the, like university employees, basically, but also people from the group who wrote the memo. The group who wrote the memo is a university-wide ad hoc group, like kind of like a grassroots movement, and I was really happy to see that. So basically the working group will start, I think, maybe next month, and I will try my best to get on it. Hopefully I will tell you more about this. Then, last but not least, two more things. One was the memo, our memo, again, DACH Memorandum on Growth, so the degrowth memo. And this basically, suggested that because the university is growing so much that there's a lot of problems. So, for example, with housing, with teachers being overworked, and also with buildings of the university, and that it's just not sustainable the way that it's going on, and it proposes to consciously reduce the student intakes. Basically the board just kind of responded to this with a very short response, and it was like, I don't know, I guess 20 pages or something. And the board just said that it will be discussed with multiple stakeholders on multiple occasions. I asked them to clarify that. Okay, so then we come to the last thing, which is strategic partnerships. That was already discussed in the last video. And now it has been passed by the council, with the exception of one university in China, where there was a majority against this university being included. So I think that was everything that we discussed. I think this might be a longer video than the last one, but if you made it so far, then please read the documents and send us a message. Let us know what's on your mind, if you have any suggestions, comments, anything. And if you want to get involved with DACH, you're always welcome to join us.